Hello everyone, my name is Dhruv Tomar. I am an intern at LEXIS and Company, and today in this video we will be discussing the concept of trespass. What is trespass? What does trespass actually means? How many types of trespass are there? We'll discuss it all. So starting with the video, first of all we'll have a brief introduction that what is trespass. So the trespass is the wildest and the oldest tort, which as it is a tort crime, so it is the wildest and the oldest tort. Secondly, it covers both criminal as well as civil aspects, and the idea of trespass is that security of person from any kind of lawful interference, and if this lawful interference breaks, then the crime of trespass gets committed. So further we'll be discussing that what are the types of trespass. So trespass can be of three types, which is trespass to land, trespass to goods, and trespass to body. Now we'll be discussing one by one all the three of them, and we'll talking further about what comes after discussing these types of trespass. So trespass to land. Now trespass to land we can define it easily like an unjustified physical or direct interference with someone's possession of land. Now the trespass also has a Latin maxim which says actionable per se, which further means that it is not required, the force which we apply in the trespass, that when we forcefully enters or forcefully interference into someone's possession of land, so this is not required, this force is not required. And secondly, this unlawful intention or actual damage, this leads to trespass. Now section 441 of IPC, which says mens rea. So obviously committing a crime, it requires mens rea, and in the crime of trespass also, whether it is a trespass to land, trespass to goods, or trespass to body, mens rea is required here also, and even it's a essential element. So there can be modes of trespassing. Now by person himself and entering on land of someone, or the second objective can be that he is doing something through some materialistic object. Now there are also some essentials to the trespass of land, that if these elements are present, then we can define a crime as trespass to land. So which says immovable property, which is obviously referred as land. Secondly, possession, and because that land would be under someone's possession. And the third would be disturbance to possession. So when a person disturbs someone's possession, and that is said to be trespass to land. Now what does be referred by immovable property? Many of you must have this question in your minds. So the immovable property is somewhat like the land or house, or this can be further also divided into two types, which says that corporeal property, which is a land or house or any sort of physical property which is there, and the incorporeal is right, that which is somewhat of easement, that is a right to receive rent or profits, which means that it is not your actual property, it is your rented property. And in the case of rented property also, it is under your, if you are renting that property, so it is under your possession, so it will be covered under incorporeal rights, and the trespass to that rented property would be considered as trespass to land. Now in this second thing which we can discuss here is that one should have a exclusive physical control over the corporeal property, which means if it's your land, you have purchased that land and you are there, you are the owner of that land, so you can exercise the physical control over that corporeal property. For example, we can say that right to fishery or right to the standing crops under a purchase. A farmer can exercise these of the rights if he came across if he gets victimized with the trespass to land. Now the main element of trespassing is possession, whether it is disturbing someone's possession, whether it is getting disturbed by someone else's possession in the case when someone else is trespassing on your land. So plaintiff should be in actual possession of that property, not a mere usual or the physical presence. If he is not physically present there and he is the owner of that property, so he can say that there is a trespass to his land as this property is under his possession. Now it also has an essential element which says that possessor has a power to use the property and exclude others from using it, and the intent to possess, which says that the owner, the possessor, has a power to use it or to not use it. It's his decision, but he has a power that he can exclude others from using it. Now we will be discussing a case which says that Lane versus Dixon. It is a very famous case law, and what happened that a tenant of a property can bring about a cause of action against anyone encroaching into his property during the period of his lease, as at that time, during the period of lease, that time period, he is the property in his possessions as he is the owner of that lease. So, and even against the lesser, if the conditions, in that case he can empower someone and he can empower the property. Now we can also discuss this that trespass can also be by joint owners, which says that no other person manifest and that intent has an equal or greater power. This was seen under the famous landmark case, which was that Krishnaya versus Uddya Lakshma. And in this case there were two brothers, which we can name as A and B, and they were owning a house in Madras, and A occupies it and lets it that B lives in Calcutta for many years, but he did not receive any rents of it or any part of rents. So in this case the court held that the law presumes the right to possession, and that exists for B also. So the decision was in the favor of B. Now another type of trespass which we can discuss in this video, it is the trespass on airspace, and it was also held in a case which was Kelsen versus Imperial Tobacco. So in this case also the court held that the person who owns the land, he owns it from heaven to hell. It doesn't matter that you cannot differentiate that if we go underground that area of that property, so he belongs to him or not. The property solely belongs to the person, which we can say that he owns the land and it's heaven to hell. So that would be all in today's video. The different types of trespass we would be discussing in another video. Thank you.